This is topic B on page 123, modifying and formatting charts. Although you can create charts with just a few mouse clicks, the default chart configurations aren't always exactly what you need to present your data. Depending on your audience and the venue, you may want to include more or less information than the default configurations include. Present your data with organizational branding, or simply make your charts larger or easier to read. Excel provides you with a vast array of options when it comes to modifying and formatting your charts. By configuring the display of your charts, you take full control over the message your charts convey and their overall visual impact. A well-formatted chart can mean the difference between simply delivering information and making an impact on your audience. So there is a difference between the two terms, modification and formatting. Modifying and formatting charts do go hand in hand. Although many people use these terms synonymously, they are actually two different things. Modifying a chart includes making changes such as moving chart elements, adding or removing elements, turning the display of particular data on or off, and changing the chart type. Think of modifying a chart as working with the display of data. You modify a chart to change the audience's understanding of the information you're presenting. Formatting, on the other hand, refers to altering the overall look and feel of a chart. Formatting a chart typically includes tasks such as changing the color scheme or the font and altering the size of the chart. You format a chart to comply with branding standards or to convey a particular mood or feel. So first we'll take a look at some chart elements that we have on our example chart on screen. You may see different elements included in your charts. Not all charts will include the same things. Some will have things like a chart title. You can see I have a placeholder for that. We have grid lines in the background, so you can try to measure up their value according to your axes. This is your y-axis. Y-axis is your vertical axis. Your horizontal axis is going across. So we have Midwest, Northeast, South, Southwest, and West on our x-axis or horizontal axis. You may see an element called your legend. Here it will match up, describe what each color coordinates to. So quarter 1 is your blue bars, quarter 2 is your dark orange bars, we have gray for quarter 3, and then our light orange is quarter 4. So this is a legend. You may have different labels for your axes. I can actually add all of these things by selecting this green plus sign in the top right of my chart. And these are to add chart elements. So if I wanted axis titles, you can see I get my vertical axis title, I get my horizontal axis title. If I didn't want them, I could uncheck them. You can have data labels. Sometimes this gets a little busy. If I hover over data labels, you get a little right arrow to the side there, and you can choose what type of data labels you want to display. Having a little bit of a lag on my computer here. Alright, my data labels doesn't want to work here. We'll try that on another chart in a second. Am I freezing? There we go. Had a little bit of a lag there. Now we're all bundled up. Alright, so our data labels you can see is checked off. Now again, like I said, you can get a little busy. So these are your data labels here, and they'll show the value of each bar. So again, if you have a lot of bars or columns on your particular charts, sometimes it's not a good idea. Maybe if you have one or two that are spread out, or even a pie chart, then data labels are a good idea, but not something you would want for this. And then the data table that I added, this is the same as just showing your range of information over here. So if you have the range of values on the same worksheet as your chart, it's useless here. It's just being repetitive and taking up space. But if your range of data is on a separate worksheet than your chart is, may be a good idea to have that below your chart. So you have different elements here, and you can check off the boxes of everything you want to add. Additional options will be shown in that right pointing arrow. Okay, and then you can just click that button to close it out. I'm going to get rid of my data table. All right, so those are some examples of data elements. When you have your chart selected, up on your ribbon you get your Chart Tools Contextual tab, which includes your Design tab and your Format tab. Taking a quick look at some of the command groups we have here, we have our Chart Layouts tab, and this is for adding or removing individual chart elements and quickly configuring the display of all chart elements according to predefined configurations. So this button is the same as your green plus sign. You're adding chart elements, so you have the same options there. And you have different quick layouts. You can hover over to get a live preview. Getting a little bit of a lag here, I apologize. But these quick layouts have different elements and different positions for some of them. Some they may have, your legend shown on the left-hand side. Some may have it above your chart area to the right. So it just has different elements included. Don't know why that's having an issue. Might be my connection. Again, I apologize. You can test out those quick layouts to get an idea of your different options there. In the Chart Styles group, you have options such as changing your color scheme, changing your styles. You have a whole gallery here. And you can hover over to get the style number to apply that. So different formatting options that are pre-configured in those styles. You have your data command group, and this is for changing the chart's data set range and switching the row and column data. You have your type command group. If you ever want to change your chart command type, you can see my color scheme is changing in my chart type dialog box, not on my main worksheet for some reason. You could go ahead and just select the type that you want to change it to. Maybe I wanted a 3D clustered column chart. Will give me my preview. Click OK, and look at that, it did update there. And you can see I have my data labels. I'm going to get rid of those. Hopefully that will update shortly. There we go. And then we have our location group. If we wanted to move our chart to a different worksheet, you could move it to a new sheet and name that new worksheet, or you could add it to an existing worksheet. You can see I have the option of summary or data there. And then we have our Format tab. Most important command group here that you'll be working with is your current selection group. And in this command group, your current selection group allows you to select particular chart elements and also access the Format task pane. So let's say I wanted to format my chart title. Now, for that particular instance, it's very easy to just click on the chart title, and then in the formula bar, I would be able to type in my title, and it automatically updates in my chart. Now, for other elements, sometimes it's a little tricky depending on how busy it is in your chart area to select exactly what you want. But if you go to that chart elements drop down, it's going to have every element that is included in your chart area. So you can see here, let's see, here I have my back wall. Any other time it would be pretty impossible to actually select your back wall area. And then if I wanted to change, let's say, my color of my back wall, I would then select my Format Selection button. And this will open up the Format Wall task pane. Whatever you have selected in your drop down here for your chart elements, if I change to Chart Area, you can see it becomes the Format Chart Area task pane. So whatever I have selected here is what I will be making changes to while that task pane is open. So if I wanted to change the color of my back wall, here I have my color drop down. Again, I don't know why it's taking so long to update there. You can see now I have that was my border that I selected there. I was in the border section, I apologize. If I wanted an actual fill color there, I would want to expand that section, and I could do a solid fill, and again change that color if I wanted to. Okay, so in your format task pane, you have different levels of buttons here. First you have your title, again that will change depending on what you have selected in that chart elements drop down. And then your chart options and text options, these are known as your high level tabs. So if I select text options, you can see my icons change here. Go back to chart options, I have these three. So these are my low level tabs. And you have that little arrow pointing to which one you have selected. Hover over, this is your fill in line low level tab, effects, size and properties. On text options I have text fill and outline, text effects, and text box. So after your low level options, then you have your different commands. Again, here I have my fill and border, and it has this little triangle to the left of it. So I can click on that and it will expand that to show my section. So these are my command sections. And again, you can collapse and expand those different sections. So there's lots of different options in that format task pane. And again, very important to know, it will change depending on what you have selected from this drop down. All right, so if I want to make changes to my chart title, I would select that from the drop down. I could go to my text options, my text fill, and maybe we would want to change that to purple. You can see it changes my text font color there. So whatever I have selected here, the changes I make in here will be applied to that. Your next video will be Activity 4.2 on page 130.